crossing county lines just to make my name in the city. Took everything, put it on the line, cause I never break or back down. One shot is do or die.
Welcome to the bottom of the bottom, me and Sing Solomon. If I saw him and I had to get him, yeah, I finally got him. Going to boost and mix up the solution. I am such a problem, crazy goon and gone up that pollution with a group of goblins, super choppers, and they hoot and holler when we scooping dollars, losing partners. But if you started, we gon' finish it. Welcome to the wild side, you know what the business is.
I'm a boss, I'm a king, I reign on the top. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I cannot be stopped. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I reign on the top. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I cannot be stopped. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I reign on the top. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I cannot be stopped. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I reign on the top. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I'm a boss, I'm a... I am a king on the throne and I'm running the kingdom with all my ability, using my strength and agility. Money.
The music is so cool.
Put your hands up, everybody knows that. Don't hold back, got you on go jack. Go DJ, that's my DJ. Party on replay, party on replay.
Welcome to the bottom of the bottom, me and Sing Solomon. If I saw him and I had to get him, yeah, I finally got him. Going to boost and mix up the solution. I am such a problem, crazy goon and gone up that pollution with a group of goblins, super choppers, and they hoot and holler when we scooping dollars, losing partners. But if you started, we gon' finish it. Welcome to the wild side, you know what the business is.
Been running fast, crossing county lines just to make my name in the city. Took everything, put it on the line, cause I never break or back down. One shot is do or die.
You make me feel so good. The music is so cool.
I'm a boss, I'm a king, I reign on the top. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I cannot be stopped. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I reign on the top. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I cannot be stopped. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I reign on the top. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I cannot be stopped. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I reign on the top. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I'm a boss, I'm a... I am a king on the throne and I'm running the kingdom with all my ability, using my strength and agility. Money.
Put your hands up, everybody knows that. Don't hold back, got you on go jack. Go DJ, that's my DJ. Party on replay, party on replay.
Been running fast, crossing county lines just to make my name in the city. Took everything, put it on the line, cause I never break or back down. One shot is do or die.
Welcome to the bottom of the bottom, me and Sing Solomon. If I saw him and I had to get him, yeah, I finally got him. Going to boost and mix up the solution. I am such a problem, crazy goon and gone up that pollution with a group of goblins, super choppers, and they hoot and holler when we scooping dollars, losing partners. But if you started, we gon' finish it. Welcome to the wild side, you know what the business is.
Put your hands up, everybody knows that. Don't hold back, got you on go jack. Go DJ, that's my DJ. Party on replay, party on replay.
I just realized my audio was off. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Black Wealth Matters in Educational series. So you guys, if you don't know the history, we've been basically doing this series since 2020. We started after protesting in the streets, and we were all just looking for a better way that we can make a difference and an impact. And after studying American history and looking at all the things that were happening as a result of systemic racism financially to the Black community, I decided that this would be a good idea. And then my team helped me create it. And fast forward, I couldn't think of anything better that we could do, especially in a time where history is being met with opposition in terms of what we're going to teach in schools to children as well as adults, right? So I thank you guys for fund managers, some venture capitalists. We just have such a great lineup. I'm so excited about this series. It's just all business, but it still adds into account how systemic racism and all that factors into that space. So I'm going to start with my conversation. And for those of you guys who don't know me, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. My name is Saria Rigo. I am a financial professional with World Financial Group who actually is supporting me during this series. And I consider myself to be very lucky to have had the 15 plus years of experience in the financial sector. I've been with 3 different firms, and I've helped countless families plan for their future. I make a new friend. Me and my team, we make new friends that you guys are interested in learning more about what we do. You're interested in doing what we do and being mentored and coming into our great establishment and helping us with the Black Wealth series and all of that great stuff as well. So before we do that, let's just talk about the financial sector in general. When I talk about the financial sector, you guys, this series, there's going to be so much finance talked about, but it's going to be all about different areas. So I'm going to talk about the personal financial sector. Okay, so COVID taught us so many things, you know. We, especially as Black folks, we saw COVID from that space where we had to deal with a lot of racial trauma. But then we also saw from the financial space where we realized we had to really take more ownership in our finances and control what we're doing, control who we're employing, who we're supporting, just control as much of our money as we can, because we got real clear about the impact of money. I don't know about you guys, but during COVID was when I learned about Black Wall Street, which is the place where Harper actually named his company from. I literally learned about Black Wall Street during COVID. I learned that this well-to-do, independent Black area was bombed by the government, and the bodies were hidden, and it was basically wiped from history. I had no idea things like that were happening. And then when I started digging deeper and deeper, I realized that there was such a close relationship between finance and the violence of systemic racism. For example, if you read President Barack Obama's book, The Audacity of Hope, he talks about how like 95% of the lynchings occurred with Black business owners. And that seems like a large number, but it was a large number, right? So that's such an economic setback for that family too, just as Black Wall Street was. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about our company, as well as how we help people grow businesses and how our platform works. This is education and information, but I would absolutely love to have another conversation with you guys if it fits. And we deal completely through word of mouth, you guys. We have a good group on here today, but I'll be honest with you, it is hard promoting this series online. I get so much pushback. And I have a Black marketing team out of Chicago who does a great job with their clients, an amazing job. They've been in the business for over 10 years, and they got so many areas where my site was getting flagged for discrimination, and it was getting listed for this, and my flyers and that, it just made it hard. So if we're going to be successful with this education and information, I'm going to need you guys to spread the word and pass it around and really be stewards for this fight. I'll get the people, I'll get the subject, I'll create all of that, but we're going to have to really do a grassroots marketing effort for this. There's no way around it. We can't shortcut it. So if you guys can help me out, just let me know in the chat that you got my back, and I would really appreciate you. All right. And the other thing that we have to think about is traits of success. We're going to see some amazing, successful people. But it's so funny. We go to school, we go to college, we learn all these things, but we don't learn people skills. We don't learn the importance of communication, of listening, of making sure that we have emotional intelligence. We don't learn curiosity so that we can always, we can be okay learning and developing ourselves. We don't learn how to follow a system. So many of us are taught to be independent and kind of just reinvent the wheel. And unfortunately, and I think this ties back to the financial impact of systemic racism, we don't learn to be entrepreneurs, especially my peers. We learn to be good employees. And that's something that we definitely want to add on to our bag of tricks, is being good entrepreneurs as well. So what we're doing is we're providing an opportunity where someone can learn to be an entrepreneur while they're keeping the stability and the consistency of their job. So they're building something that is actually very fruitful, very transformational, in the financial sector. So in our business, in the financial sector, there's such a big need for finance and services. People need education, they need guidance. People need a business platform. You see a lot of upwardly mobile people buying franchises now. What they're doing is they're buying a system, and that is awesome. We need more of that. And I love that. I'm looking at more people on my Facebook that are actual employers. That's awesome. We need powerful compensation. The financial sector, if you haven't figured out that it's lucrative, just know technology, one of the biggest money makers in America, it wouldn't even exist without the VCs, without the angel investors, without some of the people you're going to hear from in this series. Timing right now, timing couldn't be better, because people know that job stability is a myth. They know that they have to do a little more if they're going to keep up with inflation, pay off their student loan debt, vacation, achieve the American dream, and leave some of that for their kids, for the next generation. And of course, as a company, we have great values. This is just the dramatic need. If you guys look at this slide, the numbers are terrible, and it has nothing to do with what people are working, the hours they're working, or what they're making. The numbers are just terrible, but we can't get out of these situations by ourselves. I heard a statement, the mind that got you into something won't be the same mind that gets you out. So what people are experiencing today is a lot of stress. There's a term on here, the lack of hope. You don't realize how important that is until you just kind of look at it. There was an experiment done where two mice were put in a jar of water. One of the mice were taken out in a minute, and he was put down, let to dry, gave a little rest, and then they put him back in there. The other mouse wasn't taken out at all. He had no hope. The mouse that was taken out lived for 24 hours. The mouse that didn't have any hope died within 5 minutes. Hope is so important. And that's why I love Barack Obama's book, President Barack Obama, The Audacity of Hope, because hope is huge. And without hope, without that financial hope, it can actually lead to shorter lifespan, stress, disease, and things of that nature. So as a company, what we're doing is we're reaching out to the middle income. And it sounds like, of course you are, but you guys, in the financial world, that is not how it works. As a matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. Most financial service companies target the high net worth. Now, many of you guys, if you're the first person in your family to go to college, let me know in the chat. If you're the first person in your family to make an impact, put that in the chat, because I was the first person in my family to graduate from college. So there was no wealth. There was potential, but there was no wealth, right? And if if we're not taught how to create wealth, it's like the chicken and the eggs scenario. Which one comes first, money or wealth, right? If we don't have the leadership and the guidance, because of some of the issues that we've had systematically and historically, we're afraid to invest. We're afraid to take risk. So what we're doing is we're reaching out to all of those groups. But I'm excited because I'm actually able to have conversations like this with you guys, when we're just able to have real conversations. And farther down the line, possibly on Mr. Harper's platform, we're going to create a community where we can just talk about the financial trauma of systemic racism, because it has created a lot of trauma for families, whether you know it or not. What is wealth? We want people to create that generational wealth, but generational wealth is not fancy things. It's where you're working because you want to work, not because you have to. Now, many of us might not get to that point, but we'll get to the point where we're able to create our day, right? And we're able to do the jobs that we want in the capacity that we want, right? But we might not get to the point where we're just not working at all. And the reason why I say that is because the people that are in that situation, their retirements were started by their grandparents, right? So we're just starting and we're getting it going. And many of us don't want to stop working. We want to keep contributing, but financial independence is our goal for our associates and for our clients too. And how we help people achieve that is through education. So for the first conversation that you guys, this is how we work, by the way. So for the first conversation that we have with our potential clients, it's all education. And when I say education, I mean everything from how the stock market works to how retirement accounts works to the taxes implication, and even the FDIC. What is the FDIC? What happens if the bank goes out of business? We educate you about that. And then the next conversation is more built on what's a strategy, and then we start presenting ideas from there. So now I'm going to do some quick basic concepts, and then we're going to get started. The first one is the rule of 72. Write this down if you have pen and paper. This is how to make your money double. What you do is you take 72, you divide it by the interest rate of whatever your investment is making. So let's say you're making 2%. That means every 36 years, your money's going to double. That's kind of a lot. Look at 6. At 6%, our money's going to double every 12 years. That's better than 2, but we can also do better. How you do better is by having conversations with us. All right. And time is so important. The best time to start saving is not once you pay off your student loan debt. It's not once you get the kids off to college. It's not once any of that happens. The best time to start saving is always now, because there's a time value to money. And the longer you wait, the harder it is going to be for you to build that wealth. And right now, you guys, I know you heard that the market is down. It is. And also there's some great programs. Biden has a economic equality team. I know you guys have probably heard about the affordability program through Bank of America. There's so many great things targeting Black and brown neighborhoods to give us a little bit of a head start, or not head start, to give us some sort of help. And I want you guys, if you don't know about that, let me know. I'll tell you all about it. Taxes are the most important thing that we can help with. The best part about being a business owner is you get to reduce your taxes through deductions. And the best part about what we do is we then take that income, put it into a place where that money won't be taxed anymore, and it can grow. So you guys, we're out here to help. These are some of the companies that we work with, and we have a great platform. We're actually helping people become part of the financial sector. And if you're thinking about one day becoming a hedge fund manager or becoming a VC and all that good stuff, start with us. Start with us, start getting mentored with us. And let's see, you might just love what we're doing here and how we're impacting everyday families. And this is just some of the income that we make on a part-time basis in the first part of the box. And then full-time basis, being a business owner is in the second part. So time is everything. Again, people are so interested in looking at what they can do for their future. They're so interested in creating generational wealth. And right now, there's not a better time than any other in the future, because we can do it now. And I'm ready to start talking about Mr. Hill Harper. So you guys, these are the options. Please chat with me whenever you get a chance, and let's talk about Mr. Harper. So Hill Harper is a humanitarian, an award-winning actor, best-selling author, and entrepreneur. Currently, Harper stars in ABC's first television drama, The Good Doctor, and has starred in numerous television and film projects, including CSI New York, He Got Game, and Lackawanna Blues. Harper is the founder and chairman of the Black Wall Street digital app, which is actually on the Apple Store. And I'll make sure I put some details there because we definitely want you guys to support them. National Black Bank Fund, named honorary national co-chair of the redevelopment of Black Wall Street, Greenwood Chamber of Commerce, and he served as the president's cancer panel, having been appointed by President Obama in 2011. Agrees. He's so smart. In addition to his performing career, Harper has authored 4 New York Times bestselling books, including his award-winning book, The Wealth Cure, that addresses ways to solve the racial wealth gap. Harper has been recognized with 7 NAACP Image Awards, 4 of them for his writing. He is also the founder of Manifest Your Destiny Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to empowering underserved youth through mentorship, scholarship, and grant programs. His passion for business, financial literacy, and social and economic justice keeps him on the forefront and in demand as a speaker worldwide. So without further ado, let's start Mr. Harper's video. And I say that, you guys, because unfortunately, Mr. Harper had to record, but I think you should get some good information. If you have any questions, chat them in the chat room while we're showing the video.
All the education.
You ready?
I gotta hit got it. No, I gotta hold on.
Okay.
Trying to do this upside down.
All right, Ms. Harper, I just gave you an intro for everybody. Now I really want to just dive into technology and Black people in technology. So you have all right, you guys, hold on one second. Let me just start this all over. One second. I just want to make sure that it's showing correctly. You ready?
I gotta hit got it. No, I gotta hold on.
Okay.
Trying to do this upside down. No, I think that we're gonna have many digital wallets that, that serve different functionalities, right?
Okay, let me just let it adjust really quick. I think this was a little bit before the interview. Okay. He was trying to get the computer together. Okay, I think we should intro for everybody. Now I really want to just dive into technology and Black people in technology. So you have so many things that you've done, but you just added app creator. I want you to tell me, like, what made you get into the app space? What were you trying to create? What have you seen in terms of Black experience and things that have kind of just stood out to you? Just give us the whole breakdown of what occurred there.
Well, first of all, I think when you use the word app, it kind of limits things, because all apps have an application. It's an application to be used, just like technology is a tool, right? So I created a business with the Black Wall Street, a startup, a tech company, a fintech company, and we created a wallet. I believe that as we look towards the future, of technology, we're going to be using these devices with wallets in them as your main source of contact for everything. And that's why, you have Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, PayPal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You have all of these wallets out there in payment systems, because in many ways, there's a look towards the future of how are we going to be interacting? Just like you don't see a watch on me. Like, I sometimes wear watches, but at this point in my life, the watch is an accessory, right? It's a piece of jewelry more than the useful tool that it used to be to help me tell time. What do I use to tell time? I use this device, right? Just like a wallet will become, or a purse will become an accessory in the future, you won't be using that actually to get money out of it or fiat currency out of it. You'll be using your wallet from this device. Okay. And in the future, it'll get even smaller. So the application is just a tool or a way to allow you to use this device for functionality. And that's what the Black Wall Street is, the Black Wall Street digital wallet. And I couldn't be more excited about it, because I truly believe that if we as Black folk don't start owning our own technology, then we will be left behind, like we have in many industries historically. And so what do I mean by that? Black folks made Clubhouse a $4 billion app by our activity on it. We made Twitter, and Black Twitter made Twitter a $50 billion app or business. And then you look at TikTok, using our music, using our creativity, we made that a $100 billion business.
Absolutely.
So when we think about us, we're creating all this free content for folk, and we're, as digital citizens, we are adding our digital citizen creativity and use, yet we don't own any of these platforms. And so the Black Wall Street is the first of its kind, a Black-owned digital wallet. And I'm so proud that people are helping us develop it, adopting us, giving us feedback to make it better. And I couldn't be more excited about it as an application that people use, but also as a startup business that we own.
Okay, so let me get clear, and thank you for that. So I use a digital wallet right now on my iPhone, and it has my credit card, it has my bank card. So the Black Wall Street should be replacing my digital wallet.
No, I think that we're going to have many digital wallets that serve different functionalities, right? Mm-hmm. And so as the Black Wall Street grows, we're going to be adding more and different features based on what folks tell us they need and they want to have. And that's what's so compelling to me about it. And that's what I love about technology, is that technology, when you have a startup or a tech business, it's not just one thing. It's not just, okay, I'm making a widget or a t-shirt. It's about, I can actually write code and have engineers create new and different features that specifically serve my community. Right now, our sights are set on dealing with the racial wealth gap. Why is that so important to me? Because I truly believe that all the social justice things we argue about, we cannot have social justice without economic justice.
I believe the same, right?
And so when we talk about Black wealth, cross-generational wealth transfer, Black ownership of ascending value assets, all the things that we know can actually help to undergird an economic foundation in most marginalized communities, and therefore set up the opportunity to actually deal with many of these tentpole issues that we want to solve. I want to solve police brutality. I want to solve mass incarceration. I want to solve the education gap. I want to solve the health gap and healthcare gaps. I want to solve the digital divide. I want to solve these things. But if you look at the communities that are hit the hardest in those areas, they are all communities that experience economic fragility and poverty. So if we start to solve that problem, we're actually dealing with the root. And that's what we're trying to do with the Black Wall Street. So say, Hill, how do we do that? First thing first, dollar cost averaging. We encourage and educate folks around financial literacy, financial empowerment. And one of the first and most powerful things you can do is to understand the time value of money and what ascending value asset classes are. And if you also understand that, you understand how you be getting punched in the face by inflation. And the problem with our community is that most of our folks hold most of their assets in cash.
Mhm.
That's just money mentality. Whether we hold it in a bank account or whether we literally hold it in a shoebox in our mattress, most of our assets are held. And we're still, over 82% of African Americans don't have $1,200 in their portfolio,
Yeah.
right? In their bank account. And so
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
tough, but we can solve it. And this is how we do it. Slow and steady wins the race. We get people dollar cost averaging, $5 a day, $6 a day, $6 a week, $6 a month. It doesn't matter where you start. It matters that you start and that you do it on a regular price agnostic basis. That's what dollar cost averaging is. There's a lot of confusion about dollar cost averaging.
You know what? I wonder if there's so much confusion as things that we're missing. I had the pleasure of doing some recordings for you with during COVID, and thank you so much for letting me.
Outstanding job. And
thank
we'll
you.
roll out the video slow and steady.
Okay, cool. But what I've been, the thing that I'm learning about systemic racism is that it really functions through poverty. It really targets our pocketbooks. And if you go back through history, a lot of the racial crimes were also financial, whether it was Freedmen's Bank, Tulsa, a lot of areas that were hit were financially sound areas, right? And then the lynch.
It doesn't even go further. Slavery itself was an economic act, right?
Absolutely.
Based in race, right? It was a stealing of people, capital, work product for free labor to create wealth. And that's what's happened in our country. That's what's done, and folks have profited and still continue to profit off.
Absolutely, still, whether it's the prison system or not. And so the trauma of it is something that I am getting really clear about as a financial professional, because I've been in the industry for so long, and I kind of thought, like you and most people, I thought, well, if you just educate people, they're fine. What I didn't realize is that we have financial trauma that needs to be addressed before we can hear it, right? So for example, and I'm not going to talk your ear off because I'm here to listen to you, but I just want you to kind of just see what I see too. For example, it's hard to have people invest in the market if they know that they're the last line of defense for their family. So what they don't want to do is ever take risk, because if they take risk, that means they can't help their daughter. That means they can't help their mama. That means they can't help their nephew. That means if something happens to them, there's absolutely nobody that can help them. So it's like we sometimes forget that we have to talk through the trauma of what we've experienced. And until we can kind of have a safe space to deal with that trauma, it's hard for us to learn because we can't hear.
Yes, but that's why I talk about dollar cost averaging so much, because the simple fact is that dollar cost averaging smooths out the volatility.
It does.
It does. So if you get someone to what I call set it and forget it, you don't need to be a financial expert to hit 3 buttons on the Black Wall Street and start saving $6 a day or $6 a week, $6 a month. And in fact, I don't want you to be, because what I don't want you to be is what Robinhood is trying to make you think you're a trader.
Got it.
Robinhood is Robinhood because they want you to be jumping in and out of positions. I don't. I want you to set it and forget it. I want you to decide you can do $6 a day and just make that work. And then 2 years later, check back in your wallet and you're like, whoa, that's what'll happen. And then if there's a catastrophic money need, like you just described, then the beautiful thing about a digital wallet like the Black Wall Street is that you can get out of your position instantly at very low cost. The problem historically in our communities has been that there's been extreme high cost and predatory cost for access to capital and money, particularly in emergency situations. So we have our check cashing spots, we have our payday lenders, we have all of these places that are taking 14, 18, 20, 24% in some cases of this money that's already too low. And we've had trillions with a T, trillions of dollars taken out of our communities historically by payday lenders and check cashing. Banks.
Banks are predatory in the Black community.
and banks as well. So
Mhm.
completely agree with that. And so we literally have to create our own tools to, one, create opportunity, but also create defense. And
I love
that's
that.
what we've done with the Black Wall Street.
So yes, and yeah, I see the simplicity. You can save $6. The problem is people don't feel like they have it to save. That's the problem, and they don't feel like they have it to save because of.
Feel like they have it to save. That's why they said. That's why I say set and forget it, because they do have it. It's just let the technology do the work and take it out of there. You don't have to go in there every time and hit the button.
Okay.
Even if you start with $6 a week, the point is that the time value of money is more powerful. Time in the market is better than trying to time the market, and getting in the market is more important than staying out of it. And so you're absolutely right. There's so many cues and hesitancies, and there's so much misinformation, because usually it's our community that the predators come to shill. For instance, in the crypto space, our community was the #1 shill to community around Shiba Inu, Space Moon, all of these meme coins, these pump and dump coins that have no underlying inherent value. That's why focusing on and learning about something like Bitcoin, which has a clear store of value opportunity, it's very different than a Shiba Inu or a Space Moon or a Dogecoin.
I have no idea what any of those are.
Good.
Yeah. But then just remember, I'm finance, so I just focus on America in the market here. But so you were talking a little bit about the app space, and you were talking about the value. I've been noticing that a lot of folks seem to be kind of getting into that space. I think Serena Williams just opened up a VC, and her husband is in the tech space. And I want to say there's somebody else, another singer, that just started some VC investing. It's so interesting how when you talk about tech, you have to talk about money too, because there's no tech without finance.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And what's interesting about it, and what I've learned, is that technology is very similar to construction. You know, you can build anything.
Mm-hmm.
You have the money to hire enough engineers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's so interesting about it. And so, yes, raising capital for tech platform is the critical piece, because it's not rocket science. It literally isn't. It's literally hiring engineers to write code, to build features, and to build elements and tools on your platform in your business. Just like if you have the money and you want to build a 100-story skyscraper, you have to have the money to go out, own the land, get the equipment, and hire the construction people. If you have all those resources, anybody can build a skyscraper, right? But it really is about the same analogy there. It's about having the resources. That's why funding is critical for us. And we're going to be announcing something very soon around how the average person can invest in our tech platform.
I love that. I was just about to ask you about that. So tell me about your funding. Like, how has that been for you? Like, how was it when you first started? Because you went from the entertainment world to now tech. So how were you received? Because that would probably be.
I definitely have been discriminated against as an actor. By the VC community. There's no question about it. VC community says, this guy isn't a real tech CEO or a tech founder. He's an actor. I mean, even though I have 2 graduate degrees from Harvard, all of that, there is that level of discrimination about that, which is fine. And so that's why most of my company has been self-financed so far. And what I love about that opportunity is that now, since I hold so much of the cap table, I can now offer it out to our community directly as an opportunity, because rather than selling a pipe dream, it exists. It's live. You know, I mean, we can pull it up right now, live, in front of folks. So this is a real business that is open for business, with the educational videos here, the Black digital wallet, and up top it shows your portfolio balance. If I want to, one of my favorite features we just launched is savings vaults. So my son Pierce isn't old enough to purchase Bitcoin, right? He can't have his own wallet. Or or if I want to give to my church, First African Methodist Episcopal, I can open up sub vaults. And so I'm going to actually set this up for Pierce. I'm going to hit $10. We're going to do, no, let's do $6. We've been talking about $6. I'm going to say, how often do I want that buy to happen? I want that buy to happen weekly, and I want it to go into Pierce's wallet. I'm going to continue, and then it gives you all the information what it is, continue. Recurring purchase is set up successfully. So we just bought recurring $6 of Bitcoin every week for my son Pierce on here. By the time he's 20, that $6 a week is going to be worth millions of dollars. And so that's what's so interesting about this. It's available to everybody. And the savings vaults was a direct a response to what I kept hearing from my community. Because a lot of us, to your earlier point, will say, I think I missed the boat. I don't need to save for myself, but I want to take care of my grandbaby, or I want to take care of my niece and nephew. We are, and part of it has to do with subconscious self-esteem and self-worth issues and what you call generational trauma, but we're more apt to set up regular investing for a niece, a nephew, a cousin, a godchild, a church, than we are for ourselves. And
I didn't know that. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, and so rather than fighting that, say, okay, set it up for grandbaby, name this, set it up for her, and you can set up as many of these as you want for as many of your children, cousins, nephews, friends, kids. And that savings vault, I call it the family tree or the wealth giver. It allows you to set these things up and set and regularly invest and save for other people, which is very, very powerful.
So one of the things that you talked about, you were saying that there's discrimination because of you being an actor, even though you're Ivy League educated, and then you ended up having to self-fund. The reality is most Black creators or people in tech probably will not come from tech. They will probably come from other places. So I'm anticipating there'll be some discrimination as well. And so the route that you find that worked the best was just self-fund until you couldn't anymore, right? Is that
exactly as it begins to scale, you get to a scaled point where you can't continue to self-fund. So you have to bring on investment. And that's usually that critical juncture for any group or company.
Yeah. And that's actually something that I noticed from the women. You know how Forbes always does that 400 richest, blah, 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 and they'll have like the women's issue. A lot of the women weren't able to get investors either. A lot of the women that we see as being financially successful, millionaires, blah, 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 they weren't able to get investors, and a lot of them had to self-fund too. So that's probably just, you guys, if you're thinking about the tech world, that's probably how you're going to have to do it 9 times out of 10 is go from start there. Now, in terms of the discrimination, what do you think we can do to minimize that, if anything?
Support each other. At the end of the day, we have $1.6 trillion of spending power in the Black community, yet a dollar leaves our community within 6 to 7 hours. And so we have to support each other, our businesses, our programs, whatever we're doing, we have to vociferously and support each other. And if we do that, and the reason why I called my platform the Black Wall Street is if you look historically at the so-called Black Wall Streets across the country, whether it was Bronzeville in Chicago, Paradise Valley and Black Bottom in Detroit, Wilmington, North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina, Harlem during the Harlem Renaissance, Rosewood, Greenwood, all of these so-called vibrant Black communities and ecosystems, to me, shared 3 distinct factors that created the wealth effect. Factor number 1, ownership. We owned our businesses, we owned our property, we owned our work product, our labor. And in today's parlance, that means we would own our own tech companies and we'd own our own digital citizenry and our own output. Factor number 2, or piece 2, was trust. We trusted each other. Imagine that. We trusted each other to transact with each other. We actually did business. We loaned each other money. We paid each other back. We invested in each other. We bought goods and services from each other. We provided quality goods and services. In today's parlance, that means supporting Black-owned tech companies. That means supporting shows and programs. And just like I'm supporting you, you reached out to me and said, hey, will you do this? The answer has to be yes. We have to work together and support. When I reached out to you to do an interview for the platform, the answer was yes. These are the types of things we have to do more of, support each other. Even if it seems that businesses can be competitive or in the same space, you support. And because ultimately that's how we scale, by collaborating and partnering. If you look at other communities, how they scale to take on bigger and bigger size and to sort of smooth out that downside curve is by partnering, scaling, and acquiring each other, and not getting the ego like, I need to be the top dog or I need to be the top dog. This idea of partnering and acquisition, where you make a much bigger pie and everyone ends up benefiting so much more, and you level out the risk curve, is critical. Then the last piece is the movement of money or capital within the ecosystem. Back then, a dollar would change hands 60 to 100 times. That's a year to 3 years. Today, it leaves, like I said, within 6 to 7 hours. The reason why we started with the digital wallet is I believe if we don't start owning our own digital wallets, our money is going to be leaving within 6 to 7 seconds. That's what's critical. Whether it's digital currency or cryptocurrency, doesn't matter. The point is your currency and your assets are going to be held in your digital wallet. We need to own those platforms and those wallets.
I love that. And just, you've been saying it all throughout, but I was going to ask you again, what are you seeing? But what I see too, ultimately, with your Wall Street app is also a platform where we can just go in there and get access to all Black businesses that are on the platform. Whether it's a hair company, makeup, a florist that we want to buy weekly flowers from.
Yes, and better yet, watch this. Even if it's not a Black business, how can we aggregate our power to start saving more? Because what do I mean by that? There are a number of different communities that get discounts, whether they're union associations, whether they are leagues, whether they are private clubs, you name it. Because they form a group, they create leverage, spending leverage, and therefore they're offered benefits, opportunities, and coupons and access to lower costs, because they're saying the power of the group is going to spend. If we start organizing and leveraging on a platform like the Black Wall Street, our spending, even if it's State Farm insurance, we could negotiate a Black Wall Street rate that is significantly less than Syria can go out and get on her own. So it becomes a both and scenario. We circulate the money within Black business, and we do that, and we leverage our community power to get lower cost or discounted goods and services. So therefore we can do what with that extra savings? We can invest in ascending value asset classes, and then create wealth. And so all those things, it becomes an entire ecosystem, and that's what we hope to build on the Black Wall Street.
I love that. I think that's important. And from the creating of the wealth, that's how we're gonna, so that's my intention, that the middle class has enough wealth to ultimately protect the poor. That's what happens when we don't take chances. We don't create more wealth. We end up being too myopic, too small. You know, I have enough of my vacation, but you know, you got to figure it out for you. And it's like, if we can just go a little bigger, if we can just go a little bigger, we can help them all. And at the end of the day, what would you say to the next app creator or the next person who's trying to get into the fintech space? And then the last question I want to ask is, and you've been saying it all throughout, but I love hearing it. I want to hear the picture and the painting that you see for Black America, if we're able to get from point A to B in your mind, what you ultimately see. But how do Black folks get in the app space first? Like what minefields can we avoid?
Well, first of all, go to the University of Google. You know, it's all the information is out there for you. Whatever idea you have, whatever you want to execute, whatever you want to do, you can learn about how to do it, and you do not need to have a tech background to be a tech founder. That, you know, there are, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just going to say it real. The engineers out there are just like construction workers. You do not need to pound a nail to build a building. You can be the builder. In fact, most contractors you hire, do you ever see the contractor pounding a nail? No, they bring in subcontractors to do all the work. You hire them to organize the actual building of it. And that's what you're doing as a tech founder. You're organizing the building of your platform, and then you hire subcontractors to actually build it out for you. Funding is the most important part because that allows you the ability to hire more and more subcontractors to do the building and make it excellent. And so, and there's many different ways to approach that. Now, as far as the future goes, what we're building is a Web3 ecosystem. The Black Wall Street is the first of its kind, Black-owned Web3 ecosystem for the future of Black financial health and wealth, and thinking of us as Black digital citizens in Web3. Understand we all are digital citizens. Every time you play a game, every time you go on social media, any activity you do online, you're doing that as a digital citizen. And here's the deal. Most of our digital citizenry work product has been stolen from us or taken or used, just like during the Middle Passage, right? It's the same deal. We're not benefiting at all from it. So come to a platform like the Black Wall Street, be active on it, give us feedback about what you want to see, how to make it better, and own your digital citizenry. That's why we created the platform. It's not just about investing in Bitcoin. It's about owning your digital citizenry. And what we have now is just the beginning.
I love it. I love it. And what do you see as, how do you think Black America will change in the future if we do own our own digital citizenry? Is that how you say it?
We will empower each other. We'll grow cross-generational wealth, and we'll create opportunities in this idea economy. We have to do this for future generations and ourselves. We're living longer. We are also getting pushed back further by education funding and the public school system coming out, all of these different things that we know are systemic. Finally, blockchain technology and technology in general offers us a tool to fight against the systemic, historically racist systems that have been put in place to keep us back. But the only way we can do it at scale is together. And that's why we got to support each other.
Okay, got it. All right. Well, I think that is it. So you guys, I'll put your link to the to your app in the chat. We do the I'll put your link, and anything else you want to share?
I'll just say, please download the app. Please get active on the Black Wall Street, connect your bank account, start using it, give us feedback of what features you'd like to see on it. And moreover, if I am hiring, I'm actually looking for a new CEO of the Black Wall Street. So if you know someone that would be a great CEO, go into my DMs either on Instagram or Twitter and recommend somebody, and I'll have my team take a look at them. We're building out a really robust, exciting team, and I'm opening up to everybody.
I love that.
That's the way it works. And so I'm excited about where we're headed. I'm excited about the opportunity. And stay tuned for the crowdfunding piece that we're going to do and launch soon, probably the first part of next year.
Okay. Oh, first part of next year. So we have a minute. Okay, good. Good. And ultimately, at some point, you can make it a hub. We can find tech designers. We can find people that are for the Black community, or what one of the activists called descendants of the emancipated. We can find more descendants of the emancipated to work with.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop the recording. 1 second. All right, you guys, wasn't that awesome? If you guys want to share anything that you got in the chat room or any questions that you may have, I'd love to have a conversation. But what I also would like for you guys to do is put up some links to your favorite Black-owned businesses. Put up some links, and let's talk about commerce now. Let's just put up some links. I don't care if it's your favorite Black beautician, your favorite esthetician, everything, but just put it up and let's share. Mr. Harper talked about two things. One of them is he is looking for a CEO. So if you guys know anyone, and the fact that he's saying he's looking for a CEO, and he's also brilliant. So what I'm thinking is it might be a person who might not have CEO as a title. Forward them on, let them know about it, and he'll go from there. We have the LA South Chamber of Commerce here represented with Veronica. Thank you so much, Veronica, for being so active. One of the other things you guys, we talked about is the internal effects of systemic racism. Mr. Harper comes from a very beautiful background where a nuclear family and all of these great, I mean, he just comes from a beautiful background. And unfortunately, many of us didn't have that. Some of us have had parents who had mental health issues. Some of us who had families with drug abuse. Some of us have sexual predatory people in our family. And so we're dealing with a lot of that and the effects of that, as well as poor, not having enough to eat, being evicted, things of that nature. So that's when I say the financial trauma of systemic racism, great loving communities of understanding. And we just need to change the game up a little bit. And what's great is we're in a position to change the game. Wouldn't you guys agree? I think we are. So I'm going to keep saying this, but we're going to end systemic racism in this lifetime, and we're going to end it through accountability. So you guys, thank you so much. On that note, thank you so much for joining us. Next time, we're going to have Rolanda Johnson, who is in Forbes magazine. She's a venture capitalist. She works with NFL player Malcolm Jenkins. They just are doing amazing things. She's a beautiful mother. She's just amazing. These links that you guys have in the chat, make sure to grab them. Email them to yourself. I'm going to give you guys a second to do that in case you want to reach out to anyone. If you want to set some time with me, I put my link up there. There's no obligation to do anything. If you want to just talk with me about things that you think we can do to enhance the Black Wealth series, the rest of the day.
Crossing county lines just to make my name in the city. Took everything, put it on the line, cause I never break or back down. One shot is do or die.
Welcome to the bottom of the bottom, me and Winston-Salem. If I saw him and I had to get him, yeah, I finally got him. Going to boost and mix up the solution. I am such a problem, crazy goon and gone up that pollution with a group of goblins, super choppers, and they hoot and holler when we super dollars, lose the partnership. But if you started, we gon' finish it. Welcome to the wild side. You know what the business is.
I'm a boss, I'm a king, I reign on the top. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I cannot be stopped. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I reign on the top. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I cannot be stopped. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I reign on the top. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I cannot be stopped. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I reign on the top. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I'm a boss, I'm a
I am a king on the throne and I'm running the kingdom with all my ability, using my strength and agility. Money.